All right. Hey, Vikings fans. Welcome into another episode of the Skol Hop. I'm Evan.
And I'm Austin.
We're just a couple of dudes from Iowa. We like drinking beer and talking about the Vikings.
Yeah, we do. And hey, the Vikings made a pretty important announcement today for the winner of their quarterback one job. And we definitely spent some time talking about that. And I may have had a wardrobe change.
Interesting. Spicy. We also tried a new brewery on the podcast. First time ever, Alluvial Brewing out of Ames, Iowa. It was pretty good. I would recommend their beer.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. We also spent the rest of the episode giving our predictions for each game of the season. And that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and per our tradition, we let a coin help us with some of the predictions. And it gave its 2 cents too. So we'll see what it comes up with.
Careful around the beers, man. So speaking of beers, go ahead and grab a cold one and join us for episode 150 of the Skol Hop. Skol?
Skol. All right, we're going to dive into some beer. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I am pretty sure we would have to go back to our list here and look. I don't think we've had this beer. In fact, no. As I type that into our spreadsheet of beers, Alluvial Brewing out of Ames, Iowa, home to Iowa State University.
Not the brewery, but the university.
Hey, I'm pretty impartial between Iowa and Iowa State.
Okay, you should be. We both attended a different
Iowa.
Iowa.
Went to UNI, so I'm impartial to them. But anyways, I was in Ames a long time ago. This was probably 2018, so 8-9 years ago. I was there for a training for work. I was there for a week, and I just decided, I'm going to try to find cool places to drink beer in the evenings while I'm here. I didn't really know anybody. I was kind of on my own, and I stumbled upon Alluvial Brewing. It's kind of out couple miles outside of town in Ames on the north side.
I wouldn't want to be in Ames either.
It's a cool spot. Ames is a cool place in general. I would love to go to a game at Jack Trice Stadium. I think that would be sweet. And I think Iowa State, for whatever you think about them, they've poured a lot of money into their athletics program.
Yeah, aren't they like bankrupt?
No.
I thought they had a situation like a year ago.
No, Jamie Pollard, their AD, is retiring at the end of this year, and they're touting all of the different things that he's done since he's been the AD.
I might be wrong. I really thought
State.
I read something, and we're getting off track here, but I thought Iowa State was like in financial trouble just for their athletics. Anyways.
I don't think so. Anyways, Alluvial Brewing, it's in Ames, which is a good place, but the brewery's better, and I've never seen alluvial beer canned in our local Hy-Vee. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's the one. Got to try it tonight. So we're going to try their Las Tumbagas, which sounds Mexican, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but it says NEIPA at the bottom. So I would assume that's a Northeast or a New England IPA. Northeast is the same thing, but it's technically New England. Yeah. Let's crack these bad boys open.
I'm excited. The can art's very like golden, and there's like a pirate medallion on there. It kind of reminds me of what Jack Sparrow stole.
I can see that.
Which is funny because I said that about 3 minutes before we recorded. And
oh no!
Oh man! Oh no!
You criticized me last week for having a bad pour, and now I make up for it and made my beer overflow.
Well, we are using the old school football glasses, which kind of taper up at the top, and. Yeah, I may have cheated a little bit and kind of slowed down my pour. So, Evan, you spilled your beer a little bit.
That's okay. Sorry to our friend Dick Davies for spilling the beer.
He might slap you.
It's my fault.
But yeah, this already smells really good. I'm getting good whiffs, probably because you spilled a ton of it out.
And I then grabbed a lemon scented Clorox wipe to clean it up. So.
Hopefully that doesn't affect our taste of this, but I'm not going to pretend to have a sophisticated enough palate to know that. But Skol.
Skol. That's really good. I feel like you, of all people, would love a beer like this.
That's super good. And considering it's probably brewed by Cyclone fans, I'll give it some grace here. This is really good. I don't see like a percentage on the can, but with these New Englands, it can be kind of hard to tell. I won't even give a guess at the percentage, but yeah, super good flavor. It's a New England IPA in every aspect of the term. Kind of juicy, hazy, pretty dark for an IPA. I mean, it's a dark orange color. You're not really seeing through it.
Ooh, it's 6.9% according to their website.
That's pretty high. Even with that high-ish. It's not like, record breaking, but even with that higher alcohol content, I think I'm gonna for the lawnmower scale. Man, I wonder if I give this exact score a ton of times and I just don't remember because I don't write them down. Maybe we should write them down. But I think I'm gonna go like 7.9.
I think that's slightly higher. I think you've been in like the 7.5 range.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so I started saying, I think I'd give the score all the time, and in my brain it was like 7.4, and I've probably given 7.4 quite a bit. But yeah, like 7.9, the only reason it's not any higher is because, like, I mean, that's 7%, which 6.9%, which again is not high by any means, but it's like on the higher end. And if I want to, throw a few back after mowing the lawn, usually I'm super sweaty and gross. I want to throw a few back, not like 3, and
right.
This, 2 or 3 or 4 would probably be my max with this if I don't want to wake up with a headache tomorrow. But yeah, flavor super good. Still got really good head retention after a couple of minutes even. Yeah, I just like this one. And even though it's probably brewed by Cyclone fans. Evan, what do you think?
Well, I like it's a pretty straightforward description on their website, but it gives me some context for what I'm tasting, and it makes sense. It says it's a hazy IPA, double dry hopped with Eldorado hops, pronounced citrus, pineapple, and gummy bear notes. And like that was one of the first things I noticed after the first taste. I was like, there's a subtle sweetness to it that's actually really nice, and it must be that gummy bear. I don't know if they put gummy bears in there or if it's just like some sort of sugar they put in that is that way, but it's delightful.
I have heard that term gummy bear like attributed given to some beers, and I've never really understood it, but maybe it is that like that specific type of sweetness. Like it's a really good New England IPA. It's hoppy, it's full of flavor, but there is that hint of like specific sweetness, and I've had like straight up called gummy bear beers, and they have that, unique, specific sweetness, and that's probably what it is. Either way, I'm really glad that we're trying this. Makes me want to go there, even though I'd have to go to Ames, which is kind of gross. But I'm
saying we can go to an Iowa State game. We can go to the Cyhawk game. It might be in Ames.
Good luck getting tickets. Yeah, I don't even know where it's at this year. But yeah, I like this beer a lot. Thank you for bringing it there, Ev.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. And we're going to get into our pick'em, which actually seems somewhat small in relation to some pretty big news that came out from Vikings training camp, I think, like today.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Just today.
Today.
Like right before noon today.
And that news is that Kyler Murray has been officially named quarterback 1. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, I've been wearing the J.J. McCarthy throwback jersey for, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes now, at least. And I've said I'm going to keep wearing it until it's announced that JJ is no longer the starter. And here we go. I gotta take off the JJ
my stars.
Jersey.
We need to put in all the like, oh my heavens, and all the gasping sound effects.
I'm repping the Kyler jersey. I did get a, I don't know if you can see, you can't see it. I'm repping the Kyler Murray jersey.
It's a number 1.
I'm not going to wear this until it's announced that he's no longer the starter, but I just figured for the transition. And this is a fake one. I got it from the Chinese website. But this is really just my way of saying, yes, I've been rooting for JJ. I've been a JJ guy. I think it would have been the best scenario for the team had JJ gotten himself to a point where he earned the job. But having said all that, I'm a Vikings fan. And whoever is playing for my team, that's who I'm excited for. I'm not going to be pissed off if Kyler Murray does well, and I'm not going to say like, "Well, this sucks because the guy I wanted to start for the next 10 years isn't going to be there." I'm also not going to be happy if Kyler throws an interception. I'm not going to be like, "All right, it's almost JJ time." Like, I'm not going to be the one of the probably lots of Vikings fans, because we're a faction. There's always something that splits us Vikings fans, and the second Kyler has a bad game, just because it's gonna happen. Everybody has a bad game sometimes. The first time he has a bad game, Twitter's gonna explode with, "All right, throw JJ in. We know what we have with Kyler now. He's terrible." We're just gonna hear that garbage. No, you're not gonna hear that from me. Probably.
You had to qualify that.
But I truly am. I'm okay with this decision. It has seemed like it was going to be the announcement that was going to be made for a while now, even on the days where Kyler had an up and down day at camp, and maybe even if JJ had a decent day. We've known, and all it took was a few days of camp for the coaches to see what they wanted to see. I don't know what they wanted to see, but obviously they're good with it. And yeah, here we are. We have an official. KOC has named a QB1, and I think just that fact alone should excite Vikings fans.
Yeah, I definitely am happy that the decision has been made now, and even before the first preseason game. Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter today that was basically like, oh, well, it must not have been that close if they're making the call this early. And I would tend to believe that. Like, if it was truly a competition, I think KOC would have drug it out at least until that first preseason game, put them out there, see what they can do in game situations. But
well, so I may be a little delusional on this. I really do believe it has been a true competition. And maybe not. People have pointed this out. In the NFL in 2026, it's really hard to have a true, open and fair, and no matter what, everybody gets the same opportunity for a long period of time. It's hard to have those kinds of open competitions. Mm-hmm. Because just they have so little time to prepare for everything and so much to prepare for. So they really have to. I mean, I think as soon as Kyler Murray signed with the Vikings, he was, all right, the goal is to get you ready to be the starter. You don't bring in a Kyler Murray like this without having that goal. So I really do think they were saying, yes, that's the goal, but we always have JJ and we want to get him as developed as possible. One thing we can't forget in all of this is people are already, I've already seen it on Twitter and stuff today, all right, cut JJ or trade JJ away, get JJ gone to remove that distraction or whatever. But as of right now, he's the only quarterback signed for this moment 1 year from now on the roster. Every other quarterback, I guess I don't know about Max Brosmer, but let's be real here. He's not true. Brosmer is not an answer on the playing field. But as of right now, J.J. McCarthy is the only quarterback, starter-level quarterback on the team signed past 2026. Mm-hmm. There's some concerns there a little bit with Kyler Murray. He could come and ball out and want a big deal and make it difficult for the Vikings to sign him, or he could say Vikings, I'll listen to your offer, but I'm also going to listen to the other 25 offers that are probably going to be out there, and you're in a bidding war because he can't be tagged. He can't be, there's a lot of restrictions in his current contract. I just know he cannot be franchise tagged. So he could ball out and make it difficult for the Vikings to sign him. He could suck terribly and make it so that the Vikings need some kind of answer for next year, whether that's they're going to bench him and go to JJ and JJ plays well and they're good with him for the future, or they just need competition for this time next year, and JJ's in there competing against a different rookie or who knows what could happen next year. Or he could get injured. There's so many things that could happen that it's good to have a guy right now who's under contract for longer than this year. So the Vikings are probably not going to get rid of JJ unless they get a phone call with a trade offer that you can't refuse. And it'll just be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. But until then, it is nice to know, all right, the expectation is Kyler Murray is going to be, barring injury or terrible play, he's QB1, and let's go from there.
So this is interesting. I just used the Sports Reference player comparison tool. I think we've used it before. I think we used it a couple weeks ago. But you can like filter it down to specific seasons. So it's not just their whole careers. It's specific seasons. So this one, and I'll put this up right here, is comparing JJ in his 2025 season to, which would have been his first true season in the NFL, to
like starting,
to Kyler's first season in the NFL. And JJ played 10 games. Kyler played all 16. JJ has a winning record, 6-4.
Technically, yeah.
Kyler went 5-10-1. They both threw 12 interceptions. And they both rushed for 4 touchdowns.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's a lot of really interesting comparisons. Now, Kyler blows him out of the water in almost every other statistical category.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Completion
Kyler
percentage,
was Rookie of the
passing
Year.
yards. He was Rookie of the Year that year. So his quarterback rating was 87.4 to JJ's 72.6. There's a lot more to like about Kyler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even going back to his rookie year, and now he's, going into his 8th year?
I think his 8th year,
in the league. So he's got more experience. He's more mature, and now he's not playing for the team that drafted him. So it's kind of like a prove it situation,
Oh, it absolutely is a prove it. I mean, I think we read a Dustin Baker article from months ago that pointed out that there's a big difference in this upcoming season for Kyler and JJ, and I think it was Dustin Baker was basically pointing out, like, Kyler right now, his mindset is to prove it to the NFL that he is still that Pro Bowl level Rookie of the Year level Kyler Murray, who's worthy of a $100 million plus, $200 million plus deal. Whereas JJ, his mindset is to prove to the Vikings that he is QB1 level and that they could rely on him to start games. There's a difference in mindset there. So I mean, here's what I hope. I hope whoever is starting quarterback for the Vikings right now, Kyler Murray, balls out. And if we're sitting here a year from now talking about the huge $250 million deal that the Vikings gave Kyler Murray, and he's totally deserving of it, like, sign me up. That means great things happened, and we have a quarterback. Yes, I was pounding the table for J.J. McCarthy, but that was for J.J. McCarthy to be good, and obviously he didn't win out the job. So that should be everyone's mindset. Let's go Vikings.
Well, let's hope that we're sitting here in January, February, whatever that is, and these numbers are true, because these are the 17-game averages for Kyler Murray. A 67.1 completion percentage, not bad. 3,998 yards, so we'll round up to, and we'll call that 4,000 yards.
Which he's never hit 4,000 in his career,
but
in a season.
That's his
sure.
17-game average, so that would be awesome. A lot of his seasons were 16 games. Let's keep that in mind. So I think that average takes into consideration there could have been an extra game.
Kyler's only played 17 games in a season once, and that was 2024.
Right. But still, that's a good number right there. 24 touchdowns. I'd be psyched if we had a quarterback that could throw that many touchdowns.
Yeah, we did
I'd be pumped.
in 2024.
I know.
But anyways.
And then he went on to win a Super Bowl.
With a different team.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, Kyler, I'm looking forward to him. Anything else that you want to say about Kyler?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. We have seen Kyler be good in the NFL. Last year, he only played 5 games because he had a foot injury. I haven't heard a peep about that injury still being a concern. I'm chalking that up to he's not hurt anymore. That's not even anything we need to worry about. However, I mean, like I said, he's had, it looks like, 3 seasons out of his 7 finished seasons where he has played in every game that season. 19, 20. He only played in 14 games in 2021. I don't know if that was like a resting situation, but 21 was also a Pro Bowl year for him. And then 2024, he played 17 games. So that's another reason you keep a J.J. McCarthy on the roster, is because there's a really decent chance that Kyler Murray, just like most every other year in his career, might miss a game or two. Big injury, little injury. I mean, he's an athletic, mobile guy that definitely uses his rushing ability, and in the NFL, that can get quarterbacks hurt sometimes. So I'm not wishing. I would never wish for injury or anything, but that's all the more reason to have a guy that you thought could be a starter to be your backup. So we will probably see J.J. McCarthy start games this year. But yeah, I'm okay with Kyler Murray. This is a guy who has made Pro Bowls. I think Dustin Baker on the Skol Hop here a few weeks ago pointed out, like, we've seen Kyler Murray be good. We've seen when he has a good team around him, which I think objectively us Vikings fans think the rest of the team, especially the defense, is pretty good. So if we can support a Pro Bowl level quarterback with other Pro Bowl level players around him, should be the recipe for a really good season. Yeah, and then if you're still holding out hope that Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer, which I took that title away from him in my mind 2 years ago, that's all the more reason to think Kyler will be good. He's got that QB whisperer as his head coach. We'll see.
We will see. Well, let's predict. I mean, now that we know, let's go through the schedule, and we do it every year. This will be our 4th year running through our game picks, and I think having some clarity at the quarterback position, at least to start the season,
it's huge.
Definitely impacts some of our picks. So, while we kind of get set up here, I'll kind of orient the listener/viewer here. So we've kept a spreadsheet for the last 3 seasons now. This will be our 4th. And we have a few different categories. So Austin and I both make picks. We pick the Vikings will either win or lose each game down through the 17-game schedule. And, of course, that's the kind of the precipice for the purple punishments. So if we are incorrect in our picks, if the Vikings win and we said they would lose, or vice versa, if they lose and we said they would win, then we are subject to spinning the wheel and enduring whatever punishment is on that wheel. So that's kind of the primary goal of this pick'em, is to determine who will spin the wheel. Hopefully we can avoid spinning the wheel altogether.
No, I like it when we spin the wheel. I like ripping the wax strip off your leg or armpit.
My armpit, which you didn't actually do, and then it was sore for like a week. That was terrible.
I think I made you bleed there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyways,
sorry about that.
We've added, and we've been doing this basically the same way since we started doing it, so it's just kind of tradition. But we do a coin flip. So we've got the trusty dusty 1991 quarter here. It's taken a dip in a beer before, because I think the first time we did it, I flipped the coin and it went right into a glass. But we'll flip the coin. Heads is a win, tails is a loss. And we'll let the coin decide what it wants with the Viking schedule. And then we also collected predictions from our wives and from our kids.
Yeah, and I got one.
I did that too this
collective
year.
Kids, like they voted. I have 3 kids, so if 2 of them said win, then it was a win.
Well, last year I went with one of my kids, so this year I'm going with the other one.
Oh, okay,
so,
got it. Sweet,
yeah.
Nice.
So that's what we're going to do. We'll probably emphasize our personal picks. But then we'll just kind of throw in the other picks as we go. So week 1, the Vikings play the Packers at home. Do you want to reveal your pick first?
Sure. I said it's going to be a win. And Evan, we didn't talk about this, but I gave a score to everyone.
Oh, really? I did not.
Which, again, we didn't talk about it, but I'll give a little bit of thought. I think it's going to be a win. I think it'll be kind of close, 21-18 Vikings. And I just think it'll be a tough game between division opponents, and obviously the first game barring injury, the first game Kyler Murray starts for the Vikings. I think it'll be exciting. We'll see a couple highlights, and Kyler's going to win over some J.J. McCarthy truthers, probably myself included, with a couple of fun plays. It's not going to be perfect, but yeah, I think it's going to be a good game for the Vikings. Solid win.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Vikings win. I'm not nearly as prepared as you are to give score predictions that way. But I do think there's a lot of momentum right now with the Vikings. I think the quarterback situation aside, there's been a lot of there's good momentum. The lines, both offensive and defensive lines, have improved, I think. I've heard some back and forth on Blake Brandel a little bit, the center.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. I think that'll be a really interesting position to keep an eye on. But other than that, I think the Vikings have really good skill players. The return of Harrison Smith is still TBD, but I think that could be an interesting thing to keep an eye on too. He might not be back for week 1. He might come back later. But I still think the Vikings will take care of business at home against the Packers. You're filling in others, so I will do the same.
Yep. I'll just say both my wife and my kids said that it would be a win as well.
So my kids said that the Vikings would win, but my wife said no. She said that's a loss. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
interesting.
My wife is the only one that picked a Vikings loss in week 1.
Okay. All right.
So there you go.
Thought she was a Vikings fan, but I guess not.
Why don't you do the honors?
All right.
Of flipping the coin here. It's a heads.
Yep. Coin says it's going to be a win. So I'm okay with the coin so far. The coin can be right. The coin has been streaky. I feel like in every year the coin will have a lot of the same choice many weeks in a row. So we'll see if that happens.
All right. Speaking of streaks, the Vikings will go on a 2-game road trip here to start the season, essentially. So after week 1 with the Packers at home, they will travel to Chicago, followed by a trip to Tampa Bay. Week 2, Bears. What do you think at Chicago?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the first loss.
Okay.
I think the beginning of the season could be a little up and down. There's just a lot of new things happening. Kevin O'Connell, I think, has proven throughout his tenure that, 1, he's a good coach, and 2, he's not a coach that's going to tailor his game plan to the skill set of the players. He's going to try to force his players to execute the game plan of his design. So I think it's going to take a little bit because Kyler Murray's a quarterback that, other than Josh Dobbs, Kevin O'Connell has never really, at least in Minnesota, coached. A very mobile, athletic quarterback. Obviously, I think the height stuff is a little overblown, but I think overall it's going to be a little shaky in the beginning of the season. So the Vikings are going to go to Chicago, and they're going to lose 31-10. I think it's going to be a pretty deflating game and one that it's going to divide Vikings fans a lot more.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this is also a loss. I just know that the Vikings haven't played well in Chicago for a while. And so it's been a little bit more spotty lately. They've had maybe slightly more success as of the last couple of years. But no, I think, I think they lose. I don't think it's maybe as bad of a loss as what you predicted. Maybe it's a little closer. But I think the Bears might still be one of the teams to beat in the NFC North this year. I think they've got some good momentum going into the season. I haven't really heard much in terms of like injuries or negative things coming out of training camp for them. So,
yep. To that point, I think this is going to be at least the fourth year in a row that the North is a tough division. I think top down it's going to be very competitive, and even the worst team in the division, like the Lions are, it's still going to be tough to beat for the rest of the league. The Vikings aren't going to have any trouble with the Lions this year. But anyways.
My kids also said it was a loss, but my wife predicted a win.
All right.
So there you go.
There we go. She's like me, 1-1. All right, Evan, coins up.
It is heads.
That's heads. That's a win. The coin is very nice to us so far. It's going to take a turn, though, probably. That's just how
usually
it works.
does.
Seriously. I'm still getting used to...
You're still getting used to MacBook world over here?
I just, the keyboard's a little bit different for me.
It is.
All right, week 3. The Vikings, second week of that little road trip here. They travel to Tampa Bay, 3:05 game. Similar reasons that I said the Vikings would lose to the Bears in week 2. I think this is a second straight loss. The Vikings are going to lose 28-17, something like that. And it's just going to be chalked up to growing pains and trying to figure things out. I think Kevin O'Connell, to his credit, is not one to immediately bench anybody. So even if these 2 games are something that Vikings fans think like, oh, Kyler threw 2 interceptions, so he needs to be benched. I think it's one of those we just need to live through it a little bit. And there's going to be losses. This is not an undefeated team that the Vikings are suiting up this year, but that's okay. Every Super Bowl winner has lost a game except for one. So we'll be okay, but I do think this is a second straight loss for the Vikings.
I think this is a win. I don't really think that the Bucs are too much to be worried about. I know... didn't something just happen with Tampa Bay? Didn't they bring in a quarterback or something that
Baker has publicly ended the renegotiations for
maybe
an
that's
extension.
what it was. So I think there's some drama there, and I think that will kind of affect some things. There's always drama with Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's just kind of who he is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that the Bucs are super concerning to me as a team. Baker's a good player for sure, but he'll talk trash. He'll try to win. But the Buccaneers, what they've proven basically since Tom Brady left Tampa Bay was they're not going to really make a whole lot of noise until the last 5 or 6 games of the season. They're going to lose a bunch, and people are going to count them out, and then all of a sudden they're going to come on hot at the end of the season. Nobody ever seems like they want to win the NFC South anyways.
Yeah, it's one of the worst divisions in recent years.
Yeah, it's always like, all right, I guess you can win it. No, why don't you win it instead? Oh, man, I don't know if I can. And so I feel like it's going to be a similar situation this year. I just don't know that any of those teams have made a lot of gains. I don't think very highly of the Saints or the Panthers. I think the Bucs are probably the best team in the division, but I still think they're fairly mediocre.
Sure. Yeah. All right. So you're saying it's a win?
Yep. I say it's a win. My wife says it's a win. My kids said it's a loss.
Yeah, my wife said the Buccaneers a win, and so did my kids. So I'm the only Medician that said loss.
All right, you're on coin flipping duty here.
Heads again. That's 3 in a row for the coin.
3-0 for the Vikes. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure there was a guy that coin flipped every game for some team and published it before the season, so it was authentic, and the coin predicted every single game correctly.
Jeez, I think that was your
that
inspiration for having the coin on
that
our
was the
show.
whole reason we started doing it. Was I watched that right before the very first Pick'em episode we ever did, and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, but this is at least the 3rd Pick'em episode.
It's the 4th.
Is it the 4th?
Yep.
Nice. All right, Ev. I think I've gone first every time. For the home game in Week 4 against the Miami Dolphins, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a win. I think this is an easy win. I think this is maybe the coming out party for the Vikings. I think they might struggle. Maybe, I've said to this point going into the game with the Dolphins, they're 2-1. I think one of those wins is a struggling win. It could be a struggle to win against Tampa Bay. Could be a struggle to win against Green Bay. I don't know. But I think one of those wins will come at a razor-thin margin, and it'll be one of those wins that's just like, man, they earned that, I don't think that'll be the case for the Dolphins. New head coach this year in Miami, and just they have to be arguably the worst team in the league. They're still hanging on to Tua Tagovailoa.
No, they're not.
They're not?
No, he signed
Where
with
did he go?
the Falcons.
Oh,
He
well,
is probably going to start over Michael Penix, the other now benched first round pick of the 2024
that
draft.
makes my pick against the Falcons later in the season even better.
There
I
you
didn't know
go.
that. I haven't really paid attention to that.
Yeah,
but
so their quarterback is the backup from Green Bay the last couple of years.
Desmond
or at least,
Ritter?
no, that was the Falcons quarterback for a while.
I'm way behind then.
No, the Dolphins signed
Get me another beer.
Malik Willis
Malik
in the
Willis.
offseason.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
Well, anyways, new quarterback, new coach. I don't think
Yep.
there's a ton of hope there in Miami right now. I feel like they've wasted a lot of money. They've been in kind of cap hell for a while. So I'm not worried about Miami at all. And I think
Careful, you're going to spill again.
I know it's
Oh, man. Yeah, to your point, I think the Dolphins' 2026 dead cap number is more than the entire cost of the current Minnesota Twins roster.
Yeah, I remember seeing something like that. So anyways, not to drag this on too long, but the Vikings will beat the Dolphins easily at home in week 4. It will be, I think, like I said, the coming out party. I think a lot of people will be optimistic about the Vikings after that game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So much so that this game, for me, is my lock to win. It's the first lock that I think either of us have had so far.
Oh, I forgot to do those. I need to pick those.
Well, the way you're talking, I mean, there's nothing saying we can't have the same lock. But yeah, this is a win for me. It's the lock of the season to win. And again, I agree with you. Handedly, the Vikings are gonna kick some booty. They're gonna win this handedly. It's gonna be a shutout, I predict, and I think it'll be at least 24-0, if not more. I think this is gonna be. There you go. I was trying to find the emoji there. You found it for me. I think this is gonna be the true turning point game for anyone who is not fully sold on this team or fully sold on Kyler Murray yet. This is going to be a feel-good game, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, I added my lock to this one as well because I did forget to put my locks down. We're just going to call it. It's a lock. It's
Sweet.
a lock to win for all the reasons I said, for all the reasons you said. Coin, here we go. Oh,
Is it the first loss?
that is the first loss. It wasn't a great flip, but
Yeah, it flipped, and it didn't go in beer.
It flipped. So the coin predicts a loss. My family all predicted wins. So win for my wife, win for my kids.
And my wife predicted a win. My kids predicted a loss against the Dolphins.
Really?
Yeah, but I think they just... They
your kids
obviously
know
don't really
football?
know what they're doing. Although it's important to note right now, so far me and your kids have the same selections. So
Oh,
Yeah.
that is interesting. Win, loss, loss, win. Your kids are in line with the coin so far.
and you.
No, I'm win,
overall
loss,
record.
win.
Yeah. All right, week 5, the Vikings go to New Orleans to play the Saints, another NFC South team. I think, and I don't know, maybe you can correct me. I feel like I'm a little oblivious to the Saints right now. They may be the most well put together NFC South team as it sits right now. I think Kellen Moore is going to be a good coach in the league. I think their season last year wasn't over the top or anything, but they surprised some people. I think Tyler Shugg is at their quarterback. Shook.
Isn't it Shook?
SHOUGH or something like that. I think he's better than advertised. But even saying all that, I do think it'll be a close game, and I think the Vikings are going to end up losing this game to the Saints. I have 24-17, so a close game, but still, you got to lose some.
Yeah, admittedly, if you heard me talk about the Dolphins, I obviously don't know much about anything outside of the Vikings. I still think the Saints are the Saints. New head coach, kind of an unheard of quarterback. There's not a lot of faith there from me in terms of what the Saints can do. And I think the Vikings will ride the momentum out of that Dolphins game the week before. I know it's a road trip, but it's a Sunday noon game. There's no reason in my mind that the Vikings lose that game. I think they'll be just fine.
I could see it. Again, it's not like I predicted the Vikings would get blown out, but I mean, yeah, I think to me, and maybe this gives a little peek into the rest of my season, I think that the first handful of games, it's going to be up and down. It's going to be rough. Nobody's going to be predicting the Vikings to be one of the best teams in the league, even if they do win a few games after, the first 5 or 6 games of the season. But
just let me point this out quick. That's 2/3 foam.
So far, let it die down a little bit.
That's
man.
Just crazy.
This
it's a very foamy beer.
Yeah, I like it though. I like it.
It's really good.
All right, week 6 is a bye, and I think it's the second.
You got to flip the coin.
Oh man, I think we haven't done that yet so far. Forget the coin. Tails. The coin predicts a second straight loss.
You did predict the coin gets a little streaky from time to time.
Yep. Well, not 3 and 12, 3 and 2. There we go. There we go. So coin said loss, I said loss, you said win against the Saints. Week 6 is a bye, and like I said, I think it's the second or third year in a row when the Vikings have had a week 6 bye, which is interesting. I wonder how players feel about that.
It's the third year in a row. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Second or third, I can't remember.
It's the third.
As a fan, what do you think about a somewhat early season bye? For me, it's okay because we're still, in the midst of the full-on season. There's still a lot of football to watch, and sometimes a bye week can be a little refreshing. Like sometimes it's boring, and I wish the Vikings were playing, but also sometimes it's like, whew, I don't have to care this week. Like I can just watch football and care about my fantasy team, So what do you think? Do you think that way, or am I alone?
It's fine. I kind of wish for a later bye just because it helps with the injuries and such. Get an extra week to kind of recover. If you look back to what was it?
2022?
No, maybe I'm wrong. No, the thing I was thinking of isn't true. So
okay,
it's fine. But I don't know. I don't think teams look too much into their bye week. I think they're just like, okay, cool. That's when our off week is. It's a long season. They all just kind of gear up for it the same way. And there's maybe a slight advantage or disadvantage to an early or later bye, depending on how you look at it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. This is our third year in a row with a week 6 bye. We'll make the most of it.
Yeah.
So,
all right. After the bye, week 7, the Vikings host the Colts. We could probably fact check this, but I don't really want to. I want to say the last time the Colts visited Minnesota was the biggest comeback in NFL history. I might be wrong on that, but that was 2022.
2022, yeah.
I don't know the last time. I should have looked this up. I wonder if I can quickly look this up.
That might be true. So, yeah, if a friend of the show, Brian, wants to come watch with us and then leave.
At least the first half.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Oh, I'm wrong. So 2022, and we've definitely done this before because I've looked up this exact webpage before. 2022 was the greatest comeback in NFL history. Vikings beat the Colts 39-36 in overtime. And then in 2024, the Colts visited Minnesota again, which is probably the last time we talked about this, and the Vikings won 21-13. So third time, or second time since the greatest comeback that the Colts are coming to Minnesota. What do you think, Ev? Who's going to win this one?
I think the Vikings win this one. And I did a little bit of research here. I went back to all of Kevin O'Connell's games post-bye. And I think for a while there, and maybe friend of the show Dustin Baker turned me onto this, for a while there Kevin O'Connell was doing really well. after the bye. I think in his first 2 years, he was 2-0
Okay.
after the bye. And then the last 2 seasons, he went 0-2 after the bye. So he's an even 2-2 now in his career after the bye. I think he's going to go back on the right side and get back into the win column and start to get back to increasing that average again.
All right.
I think he wins. They're 5-1 after this for me.
I agree. I think it's going to be a win for the Vikings. I think it's going to be a pretty smooth win for the Vikings. I think Daniel Jones, when he was playing well last year for the Colts, he was playing really well, and the Colts were pretty good. He is coming off an Achilles tear, and everything in the news says that Daniel Jones is fully healthy and ready to go, and I'll believe it totally. And definitely by week 7, he should be definitely good to go, because that's about a year out from his not quite a year, but almost a year from his Achilles tear. We'll know more about this Colts team between now and then, but as of right now, I just think the only sticking point for me for the Vikings on whether they're a good team this year or a bad team is the quarterback. And if you're a Kyler fan and you think he's going to play up to his ceiling, then this is going to be a really good team. And yeah, I think coming off the bye, fresh, ready to go. They've worked out the kinks that I'm predicting there will be in the early season. Vikings are going to move past the Colts 34-14, something like that.
Okay. To this point, without flipping the coin yet, you have the worst record so far. The rest of us in our family, myself included, are either 4-2 or 5-1.
Yeah.
You're 3-3.
You got to be a little realistic. And I think this team will struggle. But again, I think those struggles are going to happen early, and they're going to be resilient enough. They also don't have a 2-week stretch where they're abroad this year.
True. That is a big factor. All right. Week 7 coin flip. Here we go. Oh, that was... Or we're redoing that.
Oh, no. Tails. All right. So the coin
coin's with you.
Yeah. The coin predicted 3 straight wins and then 3 straight losses. So the coin has the team at 3-3, and that's why you said it's with me. I have the team at 3-3. There we go. That was weird. Okay. Yeah, so my wife against the Colts predicted a win for the Vikings, giving her record a 5-1, and my kids predicted a win as well, giving them a 4-2 record.
All right, here we go. Week 8, the Vikings travel to Detroit. We mentioned streaks. For me, this is the beginning of a streak.
Okay.
And I don't like saying this. And I know you've already kind of hinted at the fact that, the Vikings won't have any problems with the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think the NFC North is one of the toughest divisions in football. Arguably the toughest division in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And it has been for the last couple of years now. I think the Vikings lose this game. I'm not, like I said, I'm not excited to say that. But I think it's a loss. I've been predicting a 5-1 record to this point. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but like I said, this is the beginning of a streak for me.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the beginning of a streak for me. I think the Vikings, for the second straight season, will not have any trouble with the Lions. I think the Lions that we grew to know, surprisingly, for a couple of years there are dead and gone. I think their window has closed real tight, and they're still reaching for the success that they almost had. I think we're looking at another little stretch of the Lions being bad. Bad compared to the rest of the division. I think the Vikings win this one against the Lions. I think it'll be pretty handedly, 28-7, because at some point, I think we're going to see Brian Flores' defense take over games for stretches, to the point that it doesn't matter what the offense does, similar to what it was like in the Christmas Day game against the Lions the last time they played. This Brian Flores defense is really going to be the star of the team, and the reason the Vikings win the games that they do win this year.
All right. My family, my wife predicted a loss. My kids predicted a loss.
Mine were the same. My wife and kids all predicted a loss against the Lions.
So you're the sole win predictor until you flip the coin, and then we'll see if you're truly by yourself.
The coin has predicted now 4 straight losses. It predicted
Yikes.
a loss against the Lions. So the coin after the Lions game has the Vikings at 3-4.
If that pans out, if the Vikings go 3-0 and then lose 4 in a row, then people will be like, get Kyler out of there. If he's still the quarterback at that point, like 4 straight losses will be enough to put most Vikings fans over the edge.
Although, I mean,
We don't have strong stomachs in Minnesota.
if the Vikings play out the season that the coin is saying, it would take like a naked eye to see that Kyler was the reason for those losses for KOC to make the switch. He's pretty slow to make the switch. And you can respect that, you can hate that. I think it would take quite a bit for KOC to bench really anybody. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if that's the case. Hopefully that's not the case.
All right. I mentioned that the loss to the Lions would start a streak.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings will host the Bills week 9. I think that's also a loss.
Dang, man.
And I'm just getting started, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
But I think it's a loss. What is that? That's early November. I think the Bills have a lot of momentum. Jared Allen is still an elite quarterback.
Who?
Jared Allen.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Jared Allen's the Hall of Fame defensive end.
Jay
for the Vikings.
Allen. The guy that starts with a J. Josh Allen. He's still an elite quarterback. And I think he's got a pretty decent cast. Honestly, like, you don't need a ton of name brand players around you if you're a good enough quarterback. And I think he's proven that.
Yeah.
And I think that guy wants to win at all costs. Like, he wants a Super Bowl more than anybody, and probably, honestly, deserves a Super Bowl more than a lot of people. I think he's a good player, and I think he's...
Evan, I think you and I deserve a Super Bowl more than...
I don't disagree with you. But I can feel for Bills fans a little bit, and I'm not saying that I want the Bills to win at the expense of the Vikings. But I think the Bills are going to be playing some really good football this year. They've got a new stadium that just opened.
Have you seen the criticism for that stadium?
I've heard some critiques.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they still got time to iron out some of those details. No stadium is perfect. U.S. Bank Stadium is pretty darn near perfect.
Yeah.
They should have taken some notes from whoever that architect was.
Yep.
But I still think there's going to be a lot of momentum there. Bills Mafia, they're a crazy fan base. They love their team. And, yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to just be a better team than the Vikings. They could be the best team in the AFC, the Bills.
That's a bold statement, and we will know if you're right or wrong here within, 5 or 6 months. I think the Vikings are going to win this. I think they're going to win it by a full touchdown. It's going to be like 31-24, something like that. I don't disagree with you. I think the Bills are a good team, and they will continue to be a good team this year. But for whatever reason, the fates have decided that the Vikings beat the Bills. I'm thinking of probably we already talked about the greatest comeback in NFL history, but I think in the same season we saw the craziest game, at least in Vikings history, when they beat the Bills, and part of it was like a botched
Jefferson
kneel down.
climbs the ladder. Oh, my goodness.
One of the greatest catches of Jefferson's career, a crazy fumble recovery for a touchdown, by I think Eric Kendricks.
I've probably watched that end of game sequence, and they've clipped it up so it's a lot shorter, and you don't have to watch the whole game. But I've watched the, who was it, Kevin Burkhardt? Was he the
something like that? Yeah,
CBS announcer that day? Whoever that was, I've watched that probably a dozen times, and then I've also watched the Paul Allen overdub of that whole series. He's no signal. Oh, they said he didn't get it. You lucky suckers. I've watched that probably at least 20 times.
And now I'm going to watch that tonight too. But yeah, I think the Vikings beat the Bills this year. If they're going to be a good team, they have to win some games that are tough. It'll be a tough game. But yeah, I think the Vikings will do it for me, the third win in a row. So far I've got them at 5-3 after the Bills game.
Flip it for glory. It's a loss.
It's another loss. The coin has now predicted 5 straight losses.
Oof.
And Vikings Twitter, at least, will be super pissed. At this point, people will be calling for Kevin O'Connell's head if they lose 5 straight games. It'll be a bleak time for Vikings history, or Vikings fandom, which is crazy because the coin then has predicted 3-5. 3-5 teams can go on to make the playoffs sometimes, so it's not all gloom and doom.
Well, I'm just going to keep going first here because I said I was going on a streak, and I wasn't kidding. The Vikings will travel to Green Bay Week 10. It's November 15th at this point. It'll be the week before Thanksgiving, or I guess a week and a half before Thanksgiving. This is a loss for me, and I think the Packers, although the Vikings will beat them in Week 1, LaFleur is a good coach. Jordan Love's a decent quarterback. The Packers will figure some stuff out. The Packers will remain competitive in the NFC North. And I think part of their formula to being in that postseason picture and potentially either winning the division or getting that wild card will be winning divisional games. And this will be one of them. And the Packers are gonna be licking their chops. I think, especially with the Vikings coming in, if I'm predicting correctly, with a few losses already, they'll be ready to go. And so I think that's a loss. I hate to say it, but yeah.
All right. Well, I disagree with you. I think the Vikings win this one. For me, it's a pretty decent win, 17-3, something like that. Like I said, I think this is going to be another show out of the Flores defense, and to give a little glimpse of the rest of my season, I think the Flores defense is really, this is where they're in the middle of the turn where it's talking about how, we might be talking about a Vikings defender winning Defensive Player of the Year. We're going to be seeing Vikings defensive players winning like Defensive Player of the Month or Player of the Week, stuff like that, just because this Flores defense is really going to start to shine, and we're going to be singing the praises of Caleb Banks and Big Citrus and definitely Jalen Redmond by now. So we may see some games where the Vikings don't score a ton on offense, which that happens, but we're definitely going to see a lot of games where the defense doesn't give up many scores at all. We know Kevin O'Connell's record when it comes to whether he is break even or wins the turnover battle, and the defense is obviously a huge part of that. I think it's just going to be a good defensive season, and this win against the Packers is just going to be another one where we're talking about, man, this was a good defensive game for the Vikings. So win for me. My wife and kids both said win as well.
My wife and kids also said a win, so I'm going to flip the coin here. I could be the standalone loss in Week 10. Here we go.
Do we know yet?
We might have a streak buster here.
All right, what do we got?
So.
Oh, all right.
Nope,
the coin said a loss
I
again.
I got a peek out of the glimpse of the corner of my eye, and I thought it was a heads. It was not. It was a tails.
So the coin's got the Vikings at 3-6 after the Packers.
Yikes, that's terrible. Well, at least the coin and I are kind of on the same wavelength. All right, I'm going to keep going first because I mentioned a streak, and I'm not proud to say.
Good grief,
that
Ed.
the streak continues. I've been doing this wrong. That's okay. I'll fix that later. Yeah, this is a loss for the Vikings. The Vikings will travel to Mexico City, actually, to play the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know who technically the home game belongs to, but I'm pretty sure it's the 49ers.
I think so, because the Vikings aren't losing a home game.
Yeah. Otherwise, the Vikings would have a ton of home games. They'd have 10 of them.
Yeah.
So I think this is a loss. I think the 49ers are going to be a pretty good team again, as long as their guys are healthy. And I don't know. These international games are tough for the Vikings historically. And I don't know. Maybe the only redeeming factor is that it's the same time zone for the Vikings, whereas the 49ers will be a little bit out of routine that way. But I'm predicting a loss here, and that'll put the Vikings at 5-5 and a 4-game losing streak.
Jeez, that'd be tough. That'd be a tough time to be a Vikings fan. I've got a win. I've got the Vikings beating the 49ers like 31-10. This will be another good defensive game, but obviously another good offensive game. I think the Vikings will be missing out on the pressure of being, I really think they're the away game, missing out on the pressure of being the home team at an international game. And yeah, they're still traveling and probably traveling a little bit further than the 49ers team are. But the 49ers team, there's a little bit more oomph. They're a little bit more to worry about when you're the home team in an international game. So yeah, to them, it's just to the Vikings, it's just another away game. Probably a little more, pomp and circumstance.
Yep.
A couple more events that the players have to go to, maybe. But still, it's just another game. They're in full season mode by then. This is going to be another win for the Vikings. And for me, you keep saying you're on a streak. I'm on a longer streak.
You're on a big streak.
I've now predicted 5 straight wins, and you're at 4 straight losses. So let's see what the coin is at. Is it my turn? It's my turn.
Go for it. Streak Buster!
The coin predicts a win.
Nice. Finally, after 6 losses, the coin has flipped the tables. My, how the turntables have turned. I would like to add my wife dropped a little comment in here on hers. She predicted a loss. My kids also predicted a loss to the 49ers in Mexico City. My wife said they might get distracted being in Mexico. The Margs are pretty strong.
Yep.
So,
well, we're talking about professionals here, Ravens, so I don't know about that.
All right. I've gone first a lot. I'm going to let you go first for Week 12.
Week 12, the Vikings host the Falcons, the Tua Tagovailoa-led Falcons.
I didn't know that, but
not the Desmond Ridder. Did you remember Desmond Ridder was a Viking last year for a little bit, right?
Vaguely. Maybe that's why his name came to mind. I don't know.
So yeah, the Falcons come to Minnesota, and the Vikings are going to beat them. It's going to be 27-17. I truly think, and this was my thoughts before the QB1 announcement, I truly think the Vikings will be surprising a ton of people this year. I think this is a playoff-level team, a team that is talented, unquestionably talented at every position, except for the slight concerns at quarterback. And lo and behold, they just announced a Pro Bowl level quarterback is going to be their QB1 this year. So the Vikings are going to beat the Falcons, 27-17, and the only thing that can stop the Vikings this year is maybe some injuries. Yeah,
I agree. This is a win. I think this is a much needed win for the Vikings after 4 straight losses.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you look at those 4 games coming into this Falcons game, they're tough ones. The Lions could be tough. The Bills, I think, will definitely be tough. The Packers at home are always tough. And the Niners are going to be tough. So I don't think I'm super far off in a 4-game losing streak, but I'm happy to end it knowing that the Falcons are just not a strong team.
Yeah.
And they're one of those NFC South teams that's just like, I don't want to win the division. Why do you want to win the division?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to win the NFC South. It's just...
The only caveat, and I kind of forgot about it until right now, the Falcons did just hire a new coach, so they're going to look way different than they have. Whether they're better or worse, they're going to look way different. So, and their coach, my goodness, he was the former Vikings offensive coordinator that was just with the Browns for a few years. Why can't
Stefanski?
It's Kevin Stefanski, who I truly think is a good coach in the league.
I think Stefanski is a good coach, but he proved with the Browns that it doesn't happen like that, you know? Like, I think we all thought, like, oh, man, the Browns are going to be good now when he left the Vikings to go there. And then they weren't. And, of course, you've got all sorts of personnel issues and big personalities. And then, of course, you just have the history of the Browns to
the
deal
Browns
with.
are just a garbage organization.
Yeah, they are a dumpster fire. It's terrible.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't think Stefanski comes in and just turns things around in like one season.
Yeah, it might take a minute.
I mean, even Mike Vrabel, it took him.
No, he was with New England for 1 year, and that was last year, and they made the Super Bowl.
That's true. Now he's in hot water, though.
Well, that's an off-the-field thing. And I don't know how hot the water is for him anymore, at least publicly. And it seems like things have died down.
Anyways.
All right. Is it...
Hang on. We got to do our family.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My kid said a loss, and my wife said a win.
All right. And for the Falcons, my kids and wife both said win. So after the Falcons game, I've got the Vikings at 8-3. My wife has them at 7-4, and my kids have them at 7-4. The coin, I forget if it's me or you. I'll just go.
You, me, you, me, you, me, you.
The coin has a loss against the Falcons. So the coin now has the Vikings at 4-7, which is crazy. Hopefully that's not the case, because at 4-7 after week 12, people are clamoring for firings and cuts and trades and selling of the team. Like it would be a dark time. That's, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses out of 8 games if the coin is right. Yeah, that would just be crazy. So on that note,
moving on, week 12. No, that was week 12.
Yep.
Week 13, the Vikings will play the Panthers at home. This is a good opportunity, I think, for the Vikings to build a little momentum, because they have two game home stretches, week 12 and 13. And then week 15, week 16, where they're home. And I like that. One of them is a Sunday night game, which we'll get to eventually. It's the home game in week 15 against the Lions. But other than that, they are fairly normal games. This Panthers game is a 3:25 kick, but that's fine. I think that's actually maybe a little bit preferred for
maybe,
players. Yeah. I think they'd maybe rather play a little bit later than play earlier in the day. I think this is a win. I think the Panthers are just another kind of dumpster organization. They had awful ownership and awful GM for a while. It's going to take them a while to recover from that. So, yeah, I think the Vikings win this one pretty easily. After a 4-game losing streak that I've predicted, they bounce back at home and win a couple, get back into positive territory. They're now 7-5. Your family, what'd they say?
So I don't think I've announced. I think the Vikings win against the Panthers as well. Yes. This will be another feel-good game. The Vikings are going to beat the Panthers something like 38-7. Now, I do recognize the Panthers went to the playoffs last year. They were, I believe, the division winners out of that awful NFC South. It was the first year that Bryce Young kind of showed, like, oh, this is what we're seeing when they drafted him first overall. But even so, they still are not great. It's just not. It's not like they're evil people in Carolina, but the organization just isn't run well. They've needed an MVP level player to get anywhere in Cam Newton or other years. This year they may be good or bad, I don't know, but at least in this game against the Vikings, the Panthers are going to lose again 38-7. Good offensive and defensive game, and maybe those 38 points may be helped by some defensive points as well. My wife said a win against the Panthers, and my kids said a loss. What's the coin got?
The coin. Here we go. Oh no. It fell, but it's heads. It's heads. It's under your chair, so you're going to have to get it.
I'll grab it. So the coin's starting to turn a little bit, but it's still at 5-7 on the season after the Panthers game.
All right. Well, you get the coin. Sorry. It's under your chair. One we move into week 14, which is a Thursday night game. It's the only Thursday night game on the schedule.
Which I'm more than okay with.
Yep. I don't really prefer Thursday night games.
No.
I like the extended off week after the Thursday game, but I don't like the short week.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a short week, because they travel to New England, who played in the Super Bowl last year, I think the Vikings lose this game. I don't think it's a tough loss. I think it'll be tough because it'll be close. It won't be an embarrassing loss, we'll just say. But I think they lose this one. I think your former Super Bowl runners-up are going to be a fairly decent team again this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even though you just tried to say that Vrabel wasn't that great of a coach.
Yeah, well, you got to try to get an advantage somehow, right?
Yep. All right, so, Evan, I agree with you. I think this is going to be a loss for all the same reasons you just said. Travel and prime time and December in New England and at night. There's going to be a lot of factors that aren't normally factors in an NFL game. And again, you're not going to win them all. So for me, this is a loss, and it's my lock to lose. I just think there's some that you can look at the schedule, and barring injury, which you can't predict, you just know, the Vikings are probably going to lose this one. Even if after I picked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight wins, they're going to break down a little bit. Maybe they get hit with an injury bug. You just lose sometimes. So for those reasons, that's why I think the Vikings lose to the Patriots.
Okay. Everybody in my family also predicted a loss, my wife and kids. So
mine as well. My wife and kids all predicted a loss too. So this is just a upsetting week.
Yep. All right. You got to flip the coin here. Let's see what the coin says.
Coin says loss as well. Literally every
losses across the
so
board.
You know what's going to happen now.
The Vikings will win.
Yeah, because that's just how it works.
And if they win, it'll be their third win of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
And at this point, we'll be calling to fire everybody.
No, yeah, exactly. So, hopefully, it's a better season than that. I have some.
I'm joking. I've got the Vikings at 7-6 going into the final 4 games of the season. That's not terrible.
I mean, that's
not terrible.
Depending on how the rest of the division looks, depending on how the wild card situation looks, 7-6 after week 14. I mean, you're not super hopeful, but you're within striking distance of. I mean, you could still finish with 11 wins. That's playoff-ish territory. If the Vikings had won 11 games last year, they're making the playoffs. So, I mean, what were they last year? I'm trying to think. Did we keep an actual... Oh, we didn't keep like a tally.
They were 9-8 last year, weren't they? I think they won 9 games. The Vikings did.
So after week 13... The Vikings were 7-6.
Question mark?
You're predicting another season of the Vikings, of the 2025 Vikings so far.
They were 9-8 last year.
Okay. Yeah. After overall,
they weren't 7-6.
What were they after week 14 in 2025?
After week 14, they were 5-8.
Ah, okay. Oh yeah, because they went on the 5-game win streak.
They won 5 games.
Yep. Okay. Well, after that disappointing week that we all think they're going to have against the Patriots in week 14, the Vikings come home. They've got 4 games left in the season, and 3 of them are home games, including week 15 against the Lions. Evan, who do you have in the Vikings-Lions game in week 15?
So, I talked about the Lions earlier. I said... they could be a decent team, and I never said that they would be a bad team. I never said that they'd be winning the division. I also said the last time that I picked the Vikings-Lions game and I picked a loss, that it was the beginning of a streak. I'm going to say the Vikings win this game, And it's also the beginning of another streak.
All right.
For me.
I'd be okay with that. I think the Vikings beat the Lions. I think I've been pretty vocal. There's two things about the Lions. One, the Lions fan base are the worst fan base in all of sports.
We knew it was coming.
The absolute worst. They are the bottom feeders of fan bases in all of sports.
We knew
Two,
it was coming.
they're back to the same old Lions. They suck again. I know they had the same record the Vikings did in 2025, but it was a worse 9-8 because they lost to the Vikings twice. The Lions are just donezo now, and it'll take another rebuild, probably a different coach. But one thing that's really nice about this downward spiral of the Lions so far is Dan Campbell did have success, so they're going to keep him around for a little bit longer, which will just prolong this suckage of the Lions team for a while. So all that said, the Lions losing to the Vikings 28-7. Excuse me, man, that was awesome. My wife and kids both said that the Vikings would beat the Lions as well.
My wife said they would lose to the Lions. My kids said they would win.
I thought she was a Vikings fan.
Well, she's kind of.
All right.
Let's see what the coin says. That almost took a drink in the beer. It looked like it was heading that way. I caught it out of midair.
You did.
It's a win, though.
Nice. All right.
Heads for the win.
Let's hope the coin's probably the most realistic of all of us. The coin has the Vikings at 6-8.
A 6-game losing streak. That's pretty drastic.
Man, to lose 6 games between week 4 and oh crap, I keep doing the whole. There we go. Between week 4 and to not win a game again until week 11, that gets people fired. Like people panic and things would change. That would take a benching of someone's, at multiple positions by then. So let's hope the coin is wrong.
All right, so going into the final 3 games now, you have predicted the best record of anybody, 10-4.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of 9-5s. Your wife, my kids. We've got several 8-6s. Your kids, me, and my wife. We're all at 8-6, and then the coin is at 6-8. The Vikings will play the Commanders. This is a TBD game. This is one of those flex games, I think, that the league kind of builds into the schedule. I would venture to guess that if the Vikings and the Commanders are both having good seasons, they're both playoff contenders, this would be a primetime game, possibly Sunday night, Monday night. Probably not a Thursday night. I think they set all the Thursday night games in stone before the season. So you're looking at either a Sunday or a Monday night game.
Well, this is the time, too. I don't know when the college season ends. This could be a Saturday game as well. They start to creep into the Saturday time. Either way, there's more potential. That's why these are all TBD, I think, for most teams.
This might be that like kind of quiet week in the college football playoff series where there are no bowl games or there are not a ton of bowl games because it's basically between Christmas and New Year's. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm going to say the Vikings win this one against the Commanders. The Commanders could be an interesting team, but I said the Vikings were going on a streak. So I think they continue that streak. That's 2 in a row, and I like those home stretches where they get a couple of games at home in a row. I think there's comfort there, familiarity. You got the home crowd behind you. I like home games. I think they win them.
Yeah.
So
I've got the Vikings losing to the Commanders. You're going to have wins and losses. This one's probably going to be a little bit of a dud. I said 14-10, the Vikings would lose. Commanders, they at least have a good quarterback, and if Jaden Daniels is healthy, which he wasn't really healthy the last time the Vikings played him, I think last season, he had been injured, and then he came back, and then he injured his elbow again against the Vikings last year. So if Jaden Daniels is healthy and the team is still moving at the rate they should, because the Commanders are a decent team, I think the Vikings lose to the Commanders. My wife and kids both said that it would be a win against the Commanders.
And my wife and kids also predicted a win. So right now you're the sole loss. Let's see what the coin says. I'm feeling a win.
Oh, the coin said a loss. The coin does
wrong.
not like the Vikings this year. Because the coin has the Vikings at 6-7 after week 16.
Not 6 and 7, 6 and 9.
Oh yeah, 6-9. I went the wrong way.
I just about
Yeah,
did
you
this.
just did. Yeah.
I just about went for that whole thing. I did not.
All right, the final away game of the season is week 17 against the Jets. Currently, Aaron Glenn is still the head coach there. And he's just entering the second season of his tenure. But it's not crazy to think that a coach could be fired if they have a terrible season towards the end of their second season, and the Jets are a terrible team. For that reason, I think the Vikings win, and I think it's going to be another blowout type game. I've got the Vikings winning like 27-3, and it could be another blowout. I don't know. So the Vikings are really going to be turning into their own, and I'm not going to keep secrets. I think it'll be a playoff team this year, and this is just going to be a beatdown of a worse team in that team's own stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a win. I don't think the Jets are a very good team. I'm not going to make any predictions on whether or not they keep their coach up to this point or not. But it'll be a cold weather game. I think that'll make it interesting for Vikings fans. Historically, the Vikings don't do super well in cold weather games. But I'm calling it a win, 10-6, going into the final game of the year. My wife said it was a win. My kids said it was a loss. But all of us are at 10-6 going into the final game of the season.
Interesting. My wife said it was a win. My kids said it was a win. My kids are 10-6 as well. But my wife and I are both at 11-5.
Okay. Coin flip. Here we go. Heads.
Oh,
it's a win.
All right. The coin's been up and down the last few games. So the coin has the Vikings at 7-9, heading into the final game of the season.
Okay. Final game of the season then is a home game. Another TBD game, flex game. Probably in the ballpark of January 10th-ish. Against the Bears. It'll be at U.S. Bank Stadium. I think this could be one of those games that decides playoff implications. I think that's what the league wants. They want those
week division games at the end of the season.
Yes, they want the Week 18 games to be deciding games. I think this could be a deciding game for the North. It could be a deciding game for a wild card position. It'll just depend. But I'm saying it's a win. That puts the Vikings at 11-6 on the season.
All right, I agree. It's a win, a pretty solid win too. I don't think it'll be one of those where the Vikings are resting starters by any means. I agree with you. It'll probably be either a division or playoff game, deciding game, which is fun. I like those. They're nerve-wracking. I'd like to have the division locked up, week 13 or so, but that's just not the reality of your favorite team every year, especially the Vikings. But either way, I do think the Vikings beat the Bears. Let me double check. I do have them going 1-1 against the Bears this year. I think I have them beating the Packers twice and the Lions twice. So for me, I've got one division loss for the Vikings this year, and that's only against the Bears early on. But I still think it's going to be a good team and a playoff level team, a division-winning level team, and one that'll surprise a lot of people, including a lot of Vikings fans. And hopefully we're talking about how much Kyler Murray should be paid after this season, because it'll be a good year. My wife has a loss for the Vikings, but really she was just looking at last year's stats. When she picked all these games, my kids have a win. I have the Vikings at 12-5 for this season.
Yeah, my wife picked a loss, putting them at 10-7. My kids picked a win, 11-6. Interestingly enough, I looked at my stats. I have the Vikings going 1-1 against all the divisional opponents.
Interesting.
So
okay.
1
3
win,
and
1
3
loss, 3-3 in the division overall. Which that could have some, if that's how it plays out, that could have some pretty interesting playoff implications. I don't know that an 11-6 record going 3-3 in the division wins the division.
Wins it? No, but that's definitely playoff conversations.
It's playoff conversation for sure. So that's my final question here is, do the Vikings make the playoffs?
So I think yes, but haven't we in previous years used the coin to predict, and then that dictated purple punishments into the playoffs?
We can do that.
Yeah. So the coin still needs to predict the Bears game, and I think it's me, isn't it?
Yes. Go ahead and do that.
The coin says heads. It's going to be a win against the Bears.
All right.
So the coin has the Vikings finishing 8-9, which is one game worse than 2025. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're correct. 8-9 is not ideal.
No, that's not winning the playoffs. That would only make it to the playoffs if every other team in the division was worse than that. That's the only route for an 8-9 team to make the playoffs. I think that's how the Panthers made it last season.
Yes. So I want to know from your perspective, your 12-5 record, what does that get the Vikings?
I think 12-5 in a division that's this tight, because that means you beat some of your division rivals. 12-5 wins the NFC North for the Vikings this year. I wonder what the record was for the Chicago Bears last year. Let's double check. This shouldn't take this long. Last year in 2025, the Bears won the division with an 11-6 record, 2 games better than the Vikings. Okay. So we talk about how it's such a difficult division, which it really is, but that means the division is going to beat itself sometimes. So we're not going to have a 17-0 team, a 15-2 team, probably. Or we're going to have a bunch of teams like the NFC North last year that all finished within 2 games of each other. So yeah, I think 12-5 against even the same tough NFC North is good enough to win the division, and I think the Vikings make a decent playoff run. Okay. What do you think?
I'm thinking, so I said 11-6. I think they get a wild card spot. I don't think they win the division. I think they get a wild card spot, and I think they win a wild card game, but then I think they lose in the divisional game.
Okay.
After that. So they win a playoff game, and I think that's going to be enough to keep KOC around for a little bit because he hasn't won a playoff game yet. He made it his first season, 2023, lost in the wild card round. And that was they made it with Sam Darnold too, didn't they?
Yeah, but that was the wild card loss as well to the Rams.
So 2 wild card losses. I think they finally win one, and I think that's enough to instill some confidence long term in KOC. But yeah, they lose in the second round, don't make it to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I think I don't think I said what I think in the playoffs. I just think I said that they make the playoffs. I think the Vikings, again, win a wild card game. And if they hit the ceiling, I think they could. They win the divisional game to make it to the NFC Championship game. But I think there's definitely other teams, the Rams specifically at this point, that are just in a different league than the Vikings. So even if the Vikings do hit their ceiling and outplay their level right now, I just don't think they're making it to the Super Bowl. So I think no matter what, their ceiling is losing in the NFC Championship game.
All right. Well, we will post, maybe we can post like a screenshot of this, and maybe we can simplify it a little bit so it's just us and the coin flip, and get that up. Put that. Bless me. Are you allergic?
I'm
to my
sneezing
basement?
at something. Yeah.
We'll put that up maybe on the screen, or maybe we can figure out a way to like do a link like to the spreadsheet so people can just look at the spreadsheet.
Yeah, and keep up with it.
And
because
keep
it's
up
like
with
a
it.
living living
Yeah,
thing.
so after each game, we'll go down the list and we'll check a box. We just put a check box next to each prediction. If it was right, we check the box. If it was wrong, we don't. And we kind of just boil it down to a simple percentage. Whoever had the best percentage at the end is the winner. But really, we're using this also to predict purple punishments or to determine purple punishments. So if you or I pick incorrectly, so if you said the Vikings would win and they lose, or if the Vikings lost and we predicted a win, we've got to spin the wheel. If one of us predicted incorrectly, the other picked correctly, then only one of us spins. But if we both pick incorrectly, we both spin the wheel. We're both subject to the punishment.
Here's my proposal for our locks. If we're incorrect about our locks, I think that's worth a Malort shot.
I didn't pick a lock to lose.
Yeah, so we both picked a lock to win against the Dolphins in Week 4. My lock to lose was at the Patriots in Week 14. Evan, can you think of a lock to lose looking at your predictions right now?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I'm gonna say they lose for sure in Mexico City against the 49ers. I just think that international travel game, it's tough. It'll come at the end of a pretty tough stretch for the Vikings. That's my lock to lose.
All right. Do you agree with the Malort?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So if we are wrong on the locks, it's the punishment plus Malort shot.
Yeah. Okay. And I like that we have a different lock. And I like that we have a similar lock too. So that'll be interesting. I'm excited. We still need to figure out our purple punishments.
Yes.
So we need a wheel consisting of 17, unless we wanted to add, I think last year we each picked a game for the bye week, other game in the NFL for the bye week. So I don't know, we'll figure that out, but we need at least 17 punishments to throw out there. So listeners, if you can think of any punishments, and we reserve the right to veto anything, go ahead and let us know. We can add it to the wheel. Caveat, it's probably got to be something that we can do quick on the episode. So like an example that we can do is like
eat something spicy.
Yeah, eat something spicy. An example that would be difficult to do would be like the beer mile, where you have to run a mile and drink a beer, because that would just be difficult to film or something like that. But if you can think of something that's worth a quick, funny punishment, let us know. Let us, send us an email or write in the comments. Just let us know.
Yeah. And yeah, we're open to a lot of stuff. We've eaten sardines. We shot.
I still
each
have
other.
A can of sardines.
Do you really?
Yeah.
We shot each other in the butt with BB guns.
I think I took it to the gut, which
you could, for the weak at heart. That's fine.
Yeah.
What else did we do? We've consumed our beers through swirly straws. We've sat in child's chairs.
You were blindfolded for a whole episode.
We wore socks on our hands.
Yep.
We wore gloves. We taped a football to our hands.
Do you remember when we had to whisper the whole episode?
Yeah. That was probably the worst,
forbidden episode.
The worst listening episode ever.
Couldn't do it. I listened to every episode. I couldn't listen to that episode.
We've done some pretty stupid stuff.
But it's fun. So.
It's fun, and it keeps it interesting around here. So give us some suggestions. Let us know what you'd like to see us do on an episode if we're punished for picking incorrectly. I did not feel like I was punished for drinking this beer. This beer was super good.
Absolutely. This beer was fantastic. Even though, like I said, it was probably brewed by a Cyclones fan. I don't know if you can pick up on it. My voice is going out right now.
Yeah,
and I've sneezed
hoarse
a few times. I don't know what's happening. I don't think it's the beer.
You're dying right in front of me.
No, something's going on. I did go to an amusement park yesterday, and I rode some roller coasters, and I'm a screamer on roller coasters. But like, I don't know, you could tell me when I walked in here, it's not like my voice was gone. So maybe I've just been talking it out all night. But either way, it wasn't the beer's fault. This beer was fantastic. Good flavor, decent head retention. I mean, everything about it was good. I would have this beer 10 times over.
Yeah, super good beer. I liked all the different flavor notes, including the gummy bears. It's a good tasting New England IPA. It's hazy, it's citrusy, it's sweet, it's good. Yeah, and I had a few alluvial beers when I visited them. I don't think I've had an alluvial beer since, so it's probably been like 7 or 8 years since I've had one of their beers. This didn't disappoint, and if I see it again, I'm probably gonna have to grab another one off the shelf.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has sold me on their beers no matter what. It could say pickle on it, and I'd probably pick it up because it's really good.
You pickled it up.
All right, Ev, if people loved that joke that you just made, where can they reach out to us to tell us how much they loved it?
They could email us, theskolhop@gmail.com. We check that pretty frequently. You can message us on Facebook or Twitter. We're also pretty active there. I'd say the other platforms, we're there. We're just kind of, we're the chill guy.
Yeah.
The chill guy meme. We're there. We're hanging out. TikTok and some of the others, Instagram. But yeah, if you really wanted to get our attention, hit us up on our email or Facebook or Twitter. We'd also probably see a comment on YouTube if that was dropped in there for us. But yeah, we're out there. We're present on many platforms.
Absolutely. And to derail it really quick, the Vikings in the last half hour have tweeted 2 pretty impressive throws from both quarterbacks from today's practice. And the one they tweeted from Kyler Murray to Jordan Addison on the run that should get anybody jacked up. That was a pretty throw. Just watch this really quick.
Ooh, nice.
Boom. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to tell us what you thought of that throw, let us know. Evan, this was a really great beer. This was a lot of fun. I love the Pick'em episode. It's one of my favorites. I don't know how it plays out for the listener, but I love going through and predicting the games and playing the coin game too. You could say maybe best episode yet.
Skol.
Skol.